None of y'all like even took a second to even understand like the African proverbs that were like littered all over. But it's like Beyonce literally ripped y'all off the internet, like didn't really give y'all no credit, and y'all are just be on here all day like
Beyonce, girl, can I do a brown skin girl remix without you ripping it down off?
Azealia Banks is back, and this time she's coming straight for Beyonce's throat. In a fiery outburst that has everyone talking, Banks is digging deep into Queen Bey's past, dragging out claims that long before Jay-Z, Beyonce was already tangled up in Diddy's sketchy inner circle. And what Banks is hinting at? It's not just tea, it's gasoline on a wildfire. Banks ain't buying the story that Beyonce climbed her way to the top with just talent and hard work. Nope. According to her, Bey's rise to power was laced with backdoor deals, tight-lipped secrets, and silence paid for in loyalty and fear. It's not just about the music. This is about a machine built to protect an image and bury the truth. So what exactly does Azealia Banks know? Is she really about to blow the lid off one of the most powerful names in the game? She says that Beyonce's spotless public image is a complete fantasy, an industry-made illusion crafted by handlers and guarded by elite insiders who've allegedly been running shady business for decades. In Banks's eyes, Beyonce is far from the empowering goddess she's painted to be. Instead, she says Bey is a carefully packaged product of manipulation, deals made in shadows, and ruthless ambition. And here's the wild part. The whispers have always been there. From the very start, there were rumors that Beyonce's career was given an early boost by powerful men already under scrutiny today. Before she was winning Grammys or selling out world tours, there were stories about her mingling with the big players like Diddy, way before the world knew her as the queen she is today. Azealia Banks has never shied away from calling people out, and now she's pushing this theory hard. Beyonce allegedly made major moral trade-offs to break into the highest levels of the music industry. She's pointing to those infamous invite-only parties hosted by Diddy, where, according to Banks, nothing was ever just for fun. These were business hubs cloaked as parties, filled with silent deals, unspoken favors, and connections that could make or break a career. And Banks is saying Beyonce wasn't just some young artist hanging around. She was reportedly deep in the mix. Some insiders even suggest that her presence at those elite events wasn't about networking, it was about negotiation. Banks believes Beyonce used these circles to lock in power, build alliances, and secure fast-track access to fame in ways that had nothing to do with singing. But it doesn't end there. Azealia goes further. She claims Beyonce was being groomed not just to succeed, but to become one of the system's biggest gatekeepers. That's right. According to Banks, Bey wasn't breaking the system, she was built to protect it. She was allegedly placed in a position to block rising stars, shift attention, and control who got a seat at the table. And let's talk about image. Azealia has dragged Beyonce for years, saying that her wholesome, empowering vibe is just PR smoke and mirrors. She says everything, from Destiny's Child to Lemonade, is tightly managed by a team whose job is to erase Bey's past and craft a spotless brand. In Banks' words, it's all strategy, not authenticity. Even darker are the unconfirmed but very persistent rumors swirling about hidden tapes, substances, and silent leverage. Banks and others claim Beyonce may have been exposed to the seedier side of the industry early on. Rumors say she was surrounded by questionable companions and possibly part of intimate recordings used to keep stars under control. Now here's where things get seriously intense. During a raid on Diddy's property, it's been reported that authorities discovered 3 tapes allegedly showing A-list celebs involved in very private acts during those infamous parties. Attorney Ariel Mitchell-Kidd, who's representing one of Diddy's accusers, said the tapes came straight from the mogul's home, and they reportedly name big-time celebrities. One insider claimed that one of the male stars featured is terrified those videos will leak. "It feels like a betrayal and a violation," the source said. "It brings up bad memories. He feels like he's being victimized all over again." The fear is real. If those tapes ever see the light of day, it could be game over for some of the industry's biggest names. Attorney Tony Busby also added fuel to the fire during a press conference, saying, "The day will come when we name names other than Sean Combs, and the names will shock you." That line alone had social media spiraling, because if Beyonce's name is anywhere near that list, her legacy could be hanging by a thread. Banks hints that somewhere people are still holding dangerous receipts that could completely flip the script on Beyonce's picture-perfect image. And at the center of it all is her long-standing connection to Diddy's crew, a circle now under serious heat for its alleged history of abuse, cover-ups, and industry manipulation. While we don't know all the facts, Azealia is screaming from the rooftops that Beyoncé wasn't just standing by. She was allegedly a beneficiary, if not a player, in the system that's finally starting to fall apart. And this feud between Azealia and Beyoncé? It's not new, but it's way more personal now. Banks has long accused Bey of being a cultural thief, snatching style, sound, and ideas from underground black creatives without giving credit. In her own words, Beyoncé is a poacher who repackages the raw, authentic work of others and sells it to the masses as if it's her own. Banks hasn't held back when it comes to Beyoncé's critically acclaimed Lemonade album either. While she once praised it, she later flipped and called it a feminist scam, saying it was all about a cheating man and full of fake deep metaphors. She says the album played off black women's pain as performance art, something to profit off of, not heal from. And now, Beyoncé's venturing into country music, and Azealia's calling foul again. When Beyoncé dropped Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages during the Super Bowl, Banks was quick to slam it. On Instagram, she snapped, "Nothing country about it, you're setting yourself up to be ridiculed." She went in saying Beyoncé was just slapping on a blonde wig and trying to ride the country trend without actually understanding the genre. "It's giving big-time musical grift," she said. And while Banks agrees that black women can absolutely do country, she made it clear, Beyoncé just ain't hitting the mark. The drama hit another level when rumors spread that Beyoncé was planning to sample one of Banks's tracks for Renaissance. Azealia went nuclear, threatening to sue Beyoncé, her team, her label, and even mentioned Blue Ivy by name. That wasn't just a dig, it was a full-on declaration of war. Banks doesn't just think Beyoncé is fake, she says she's protected by a rigged system designed to silence voices like hers. She even came for Beyoncé's hit Break My Soul, calling it bad house music for people who've never heard real house before. Banks, who's known for her early house tracks, says Beyoncé is just trend hopping again, trying to stay relevant in a space she doesn't even respect. And it didn't stop there. Back in 2018, Azealia accused Beyoncé of straight-up stealing choreography. She said Bey's ex-dancer Ashanti jacked moves from a video called Count Contessa, which was originally choreographed by another artist named Jip Jack. Banks blasted her on social media, saying Beyoncé should just get over herself and hire me. She's been consistent with this message. Beyoncé doesn't uplift women, she allegedly rips them off. Azealia says Bey wraps herself in messages of empowerment, but in real life, she's all about staying on top, even if it means pushing other talented women down. Banks has even said Beyoncé needs to humble herself and recognize the work and vision of the women she borrows from. "We don't need any more Beyoncé thought moments," she quipped. "I don't know why she wants to be a regular bee." And let's not forget one of her most brutal takes. Back in 2016, Banks accused Beyoncé of exploiting black female artists. She tweeted, "She's not an artist, she's a poacher. She takes food out of darker-skinned women's mouths and pretends to be inspired." She even said Beyoncé should just stay in Jay-Z's shadow and let real creatives shine. The drama didn't stop with Renaissance. Nope. When Beyoncé dropped Cowboy Carter, Azealia Banks came for her again, this time calling the whole thing white woman cosplay. She accused Bey of flipping the switch on her black identity whenever it benefits her career, and she did not hold back on Instagram. Banks went off saying the album rollout just screamed fake. "It all feels like a huge eye roll," she wrote, blasting Jay-Z for overmanaging Beyoncé's every move. According to Banks, this isn't even the real Beyoncé anymore, it's Jay's influence in full control. "Someone tell Jay-Z his strategies are corny," she added. "We want to see Bey without him and his pound puppy dreadlocks breathing all over her." Then she threw more shade, posting an old pic of herself in cowboy gear from one of her own music videos with a simple caption, "The OG." That was a straight shot. Banks clearly believes Beyoncé's been watching her moves and lifting her style, but the deepest cut? Banks says Beyoncé is nothing more than Jay-Z's puppet. She painted Bey as someone who's spent her whole life following orders, chasing a legacy built on someone else's blueprint. She even slammed Beyoncé's silence, calling it cowardice. In Banks's eyes, Bey hides behind metaphors, fan armies, and her picture-perfect image because she's scared to face real heat. Banks didn't stop there. She declared Beyoncé creatively washed, said she's just another rich artist trying to hold on to relevance with no soul left in the tank. Every new project, Banks claims, is another lifeless rollout. Pretty packaging but no passion? At the heart of it all? Banks is pushing one bombshell idea, that Beyoncé's success was never just organic. She didn't rise just by talent or grind. She was built, promoted, and protected by a powerful system led by men like Diddy. And now that machine? It's falling apart, and Banks is ready to bring the rest of it crashing down. Whether she's exposing real skeletons or just turning up the heat, one thing's for sure, Banks is not scared of Beyoncé. She's out here swinging with no filter, and the industry is definitely feeling the impact. And it's not just Banks. This pattern's been bubbling under the surface for years. Keisha Cole? She called it out too. When Beyoncé dropped Bow Down I Been On, Keisha jumped on Twitter and didn't mince words. She said, "Can't stand when people act self-righteous when it's convenient." Then added, "First it's women stick together. Now it's bow down? Fauch!" She doubled down, saying, "Chicks stay shooting the shade, but when I speak my mind, it's a problem." Keisha was tired of the double standards, and she let it be known. But when she did, the internet exploded. The Bayhive swarmed, dragging Keisha left and right. What looked like just a few tweets turned into a full-blown war online. Some folks applauded Keisha for standing up for unity and keeping it real. Others slammed her for daring to come for Beyoncé. But what mattered most? She opened the door to a deeper convo. A convo about what happens behind the curtain when you challenge the wrong person in this industry. Insiders say Keisha had always felt uneasy about the Beyoncé machine. But after that tweet, things changed. Label support started slipping. Her music got less push. Features stopped coming in. Just like that, Keisha, once platinum selling with a hit reality show, started to fade from the spotlight. Quietly, like she'd been benched. And it ain't just her. This so-called Beyoncé effect, it's real. And it's been happening for years. Just look at Carrie Hilson. She was fire, writing for major artists, killing it on her own. But after her track Turnin' Me On threw shade at fake divas, boom, her career hit a wall. She never said Beyoncé's name directly, but the shots were obvious. And after that, no more big interviews. Projects stalled. She went MIA from the spotlight. To this day, Carrie's hinted that she got blacklisted, all for stepping out of line. Then came Tinashe. Her single 2 On had her looking like the next big R&B star. But when she started speaking out, saying she felt controlled and left out of major career decisions, her buzz cooled down fast. She never pointed fingers, but fans connected the dots. She pushed back against the system, and the system pushed her out. Even Amerie, remember her? She had that 2005 smash one thing, and it was everywhere. Then poof. She vanished just as fast as she rose. Around the same time, another artist with a similar style and more industry muscle started rising. Fans have long suspected Amerie didn't just fade out, she was replaced. And of course, Lauryn Hill, the legend. A once-in-a-generation voice. She was praised until she challenged the machine. After her masterpiece, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, she spoke out, questioned the whole system, and the industry labeled her difficult. Soon enough, she was gone from mainstream airwaves, treated like a cautionary tale instead of a queen. What do all these women have in common? Talent, power, and the guts to speak up. And after they did, they got pushed aside. Quietly, strategically. And now, with Diddy's empire collapsing, people are putting the pieces together. These weren't random, they were signs. A system that rewards silence and loyalty and punishes anyone who steps out of line. And Beyoncé's name? It keeps showing up. Not always in accusations, but in whispers, in patterns. Enough to make people wonder, was she just the face of greatness? Or also the quiet gatekeeper of an industry empire? Because what's going down with Diddy? It ain't just scandal, it's a full-blown reckoning. Over the past year, his name has gone from music legend to legal nightmare. Allegations of abuse, control, NDAs, career sabotage, it's dark. And it's got people asking if Diddy's fall has started, who's next? Because he didn't run this game solo. He was part of a crew, a protected crew, a circle of powerful black execs and stars. People who didn't just shape the culture, they controlled it. They decided who rose and who got cut. And guess who was in that circle? Beyoncé, Jay-Z, L.A. Reid, the so-called black elite. For years, they were the gold standard. Grammys, Forbes lists, red carpets. But now, that picture-perfect image is starting to crack, the truth slipping out. It's no coincidence that Beyoncé and Jay-Z's empire blew up in the same era Diddy ruled. Same parties, same brunches, same backroom deals. They weren't just colleagues, they were part of the same machine. A machine that played favorites. If you stayed loyal, you got protection. If you spoke up, you vanished. And that's where Beyoncé's role starts to get messy. No, she hasn't been named in court. Not yet. But more and more people are asking, did she benefit from a system that pushed others out just to keep her on top? Maybe Beyoncé didn't build the whole machine, but she thrived in it. She was in the rooms. She knew the players, and she stayed protected by the same silence that now surrounds all these fallen giants. So, was Beyoncé just lucky? Or was she backed by a system that kept her untouchable while it quietly erased anyone who dared to shine too bright? This ain't just about fame, it's about power, control, and the silence that helped keep it all running until now. That's it for today's video. If you thought things were wild before, trust, this is just the beginning. Hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because more names are about to drop. See you in the next one!